Hello everyone, how are you? Good to see you guys joining. Hi Rakshita, how are you? Hi Shiva, hi Shravani, I see you. Hi Mitu, hi Simran, hi Nafisha, good afternoon. Hope you guys are keeping safe and healthy, right? Hi Sandeep, hi Suchismita, hi Soumya, hi Jasmine, hi Niharika, how are you? Hope you guys are doing good. Yes. Quick revision we'll do at the end, right. Because this is a long chapter. What I'm proposing is we'll quickly rush through this chapter while clearing all the doubts. And I also have a small revision at the end today, right? Some 9, 10 questions which are going to be pretty tough, right? These are going to be little tough questions from exam perspective. So we will also have that revision today. Good, Niharika. Thank you so much. I'm doing good. Staying home, bored like all of you, right? Staying home, nothing to do. Hi Neha, hi Krishna, how are you? Hi Amol, hi Moksha. All right. Yes. Someone says artificial intelligence is increasing, right? I think this will not destroy what humans are doing. This might add value to what humans are doing. Like, I think that's how you should perceive it. But nonetheless, the skill set that each one of us now we need is going to be a lot different, right? We all need to be super computer savvy, super. We should know something or more about the technology, right? Even if it is relevant or not relevant to what you're studying, you need to know a thing or two about the technology, what's happening, how is it changing, right? Great. So let us just jump into chapter 5, right? I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone who's asking. I hope you guys are also doing good, right? Hmm. Yes, Prashant. I think it's tough for those who are not studying. For you, they'll be easy because I think you're studying well, right? Hi, Utkar. How are you? Hi, Akriti. Hi, Samriddhi. I see you. Thanks, Rabini. Right. So let us just jump into chapter 5, where we left in the last session, and that was these few important concepts, right? So we left the last session where we had to discuss these concepts, right? We were studying about RBI, which is Reserve Bank of India, and how it facilitates business. We were talking about organizations which are facilitating businesses, right? And we were talking about Reserve Bank of India, and where we understood that RBI has some key concepts, right? RBI has some key concepts which we need to understand, and how is that relevant for businesses, right? So those points were like your basis point, your reverse repo, your repo rate, your SLR, that is your statutory liquidity ratio, and then you have your CRR, right? That is your cash reserve ratio. But what are those? Like, what are these things? What are these concepts? Let us just understand. The first one is called basis points, right? Basis point is nothing but the interest rate, right? Okay, so if I tell you that 1% is 100 basis points, right? Listen to this carefully. 1% is equal to 100 basis points, right? Now, if the bank interest rate is 7.75%, let us assume the bank interest rate, the bank says the interest rate at which I will give you a loan is 7.75%, and RBI reduces it by 25 basis points, right? RBI reduces it by 25 basis points. 100 basis points is 1%. 100 basis points is 1%, and RBI reduces it by 25 basis point, right? RBI reduces it by 25 basis point. So that means it is reducing it by 0.25%, right? As simple as that. Now the new interest rate that the bank can charge is 7.5. So from 7.75, it reduced 25 basis points. Basis points is nothing but a measurement of interest rate or a percentage. 1% is equal to 100 basis points. Simple concept. So if it is reduced by 25 basis points, it is reduced by 0.25%. And if when you read a newspaper or you read some article and you read that RBI has reduced this rate by 50 basis points, so that means it has reduced the interest rate by 0.5%. right? Or if there is a 1 basis point difference, that means 1% difference. So that is what a basis point is, right? The second concept is called repo rate. What is repo rate? Repo rate is nothing. A very simple concept. We studied that RBI is the banker of the banks, right? We studied that RBI is the banker of the banks. The rate at which banks borrow money from RBI is called repo rate, right? It is called repo rate. The full form is repurchase rate, all right? So the rate at which general banks, commercial banks, your government banks, whatever bank it is, the rate at which that bank can borrow money from RBI is called repo rate. All right, it is called repo rate. The full form is repurchase. Currently, it is 4%. Currently, it is roughly, I'm a bank and I have 1,000 crore of money. Read in the next concept that RBI says, right? Let us go to the concept of SLR, which is statutory liquidity ratio, right? So the ratio of liquid assets, statutory. That means, right? I think everyone is having that issue with buffering. Is that so? Mm-mm-mm. Great. Okay. Okay. I think it will be good now. Sure. Do let me know if there is still a problem. I think it's resolved. Okay. Great. Great. Okay. So we were talking about statutory liquidity ratio, right? Which is nothing but the answer is in the word itself, right? Statutory means it is required by law. It is required by rule, right? Liquidity, we all know what is liquidity. That means liquid assets, right? Cash and deposits and everything. And ratio is a percentage of the total thing, right? So the ratio of liquid assets to total deposits with bank, right? The ratio of liquid assets to the total deposits with bank. So RBI says, right now, RBI says, I'll give you a very, very simple example, and this will clear both the concepts. That is SLR and CRR, right? It will clear both the concepts of SLR and CRR. Just give me a second. Great. So let us suppose you are a bank now, right? Let us suppose, let us suppose you are a bank, right? And you have, let us suppose 1 lakh crore of rupees, right? Now you are a bank and you have 1 lakh crore of funds with you, and that money has come from the general public, right? Now the general public is saving that money in savings account, in FDs, in PPF, and different forms, right? Now the general public is coming and depositing that money in the bank, and with that money the bank is giving out loans, right? Simple concept. General public is depositing money in the banks, and the banks are using that money to give out loans, correct? Now what happens is, now RBI says, what if all the people in a single day come and ask for that money back, right? What will happen? Now, if you have 1 lakh crore of deposits with you, right? If you have 1 lakh crore of deposits with you, and all the people come back asking for that money, right? Okay. I still see a few of you facing issue, but I think most of them have got it right. Shavni, I would request if you can just check your network once, because it's good from my side. Right? I think all of those who were getting a problem have resolved it. I can see that there was a lag, right? But now it's resolved. Okay, okay. I'll just wait for 5 more seconds. I think it's resolved from my. It's super check. Uh-huh. I'm sorry for the glitch, but I think it's resolved. Is what I'm checking. Okay. I think let's give it. Let's go on with the class, and I think it will be resolved as we go on. Right. Okay, so we were talking about statutory liquidity ratio and where the banks have all this money. And what if people come and ask for that money, right? What if people come and ask for that money back, right? What will happen? What will happen? Simple thing. Now, RBI says you have to keep certain amount of money as a security so that if people come and ask for that money, you have that money to give them and you do not give the entire money you have as loans, right? I have 1 lakh rupees and I can give out loans for only 80% or 70%. The rest of the money I have to keep as a security so that if people come and ask for their money back, I have that money to give them, right? Okay. I will surely go back to repo rate, reverse repo, all the 5 concepts very quickly after we complete this, so that any lag is covered. All right. Okay. So focus is on the SLR right now. So SLR is basically that percentage, right? SLR is that percentage that RBI says you have to keep in liquid form so that if people come and ask for their money back, you can give it to them, right? So liquid assets are assets that can be converted into cash very quickly, right? Liquid assets, I think all of you know this. Liquid assets are assets that can be converted into cash very quickly, right? Now, total deposits can be used to give out loans. That is what we were studying. The total deposits that the bank has can be used to give out loans. Now, SLR requires to keep a certain percentage. Now, SLR requires to keep a certain percentage, which is currently 18%. As on date, it is 18%. So if a bank has 1 lakh crore rupees, it has to keep 18% in liquid form and they can only give out loans of the rest 82%, right? Only the 82% of the total deposits they have can be used to give out loans. And that is what RBI sets. That is how RBI regulates, right? So bank is able to give only the balance money and the only balance can be used to give out the loans. As simple as that. Statutory liquidity ratio. What RBI here is saying, you have to keep 18% of the total deposits in liquid form, right? In liquid form. Similarly, in cash reserve ratio, they have to keep certain percentage with RBI in cash form. All right. They have to keep a certain percentage with RBI in cash form. All right. In form of cash. That is cash reserve ratio. Same concept. So that there is certain amount of money that is there with RBI for the bad times of the economy, right? For the bad times of economy. Now, total deposits that can be used to give out loans, CRR is required to keep certain percentage of these deposits as liquid in cash, right? To keep certain amount of money in cash form, currently it is 3%. Currently it is 3%. Statutory liquidity ratio 18% currently to keep certain percentage in liquid form. Cash reserve ratio to keep certain percentage in cash form. Percentage of total deposits with the bank, right? Total deposits with the bank. Okay. Before I go to the question, repo basis point, simple. 1% is 100 basis points, right? And similarly, if it is reduced by 25 basis points, means it is reduced by 0.25%. Repo rate, rate at which banks borrow money from RBI. Repo rate is the rate at which banks borrow money from RBI. Reverse repo rate, the rate at which banks deposit money with RBI, right? Reverse repo rate is the rate at which banks deposit money with the RBI, right? Okay. Now try this question. Okay. Try this question, which is on the screen. If the current reverse repo rate is 4%, if the current reverse repo rate is 4%, the difference between repo and reverse repo shall be 350 basis points, right? Now the RBI says the difference between the repo and the reverse repo rate shall be 350 points, 350 basis points. Now RBI increases the reverse repo. The RBI increases the reverse repo by 200 basis points. Okay. Now what is the new repo rate? What is the new repo rate? Reverse repo rate is 4%. reverse repo rate is 4%. The difference between repo and reverse repo is 350 basis points. Okay, the difference between reverse repo and repo is 350 basis points. RBI increases the reverse repo. Right now it is 4%. The RBI increases reverse repo by 200 basis points. Now, what is the new repo rate? Right? Okay. What is the new repo rate? Is it 2.5%, 7.5%, 4.5, or 9.5? What do you think? All right, I already have answers. Good, good, good. Good speed. Rakshita, Jasmine, we have cleared all the concepts, right? We talked about repo, reverse repo, and SLR. Okay. What about others? What about others? This should be a simple answer, right? Certainly, we will see if you're right or not. I see answers from Amol has given, Ankit has given, Santavya has given, Praveen, Pooja, Amol, okay. Soumya has given, Prashant, Shambhavi has given. Great, great, great. I see Dashmeet's answer as well. What about others? What about others? Are you trying or are you not trying? Great. Utkar has given, Moksha has given. Great. Shravanan has given, Rakshita has given, Shiva Prasad, thanks. I see answer from Jyoti also. Sandarya has given, great. All right, so the correct answer is 9.5%. The correct answer is 9.5%. How? How? Okay. Now the reverse repo rate, I told you, will always be less than repo rate. Correct? I told you that the reverse repo rate will always be less than the repo rate. Correct? Now, if the reverse repo rate is 4%, the repo rate will be 7.5% because the difference is 350 basis points. Okay. Now, if the reverse repo rate is 4%, the repo rate will be 7.5%. If the reverse repo rate is increased by 2%, which is 200 basis points, then the repo rate will be 9.5%. Right? Is that okay? Is the concept clear now? The reverse repo rate is always less than the repo rate. Okay. If the reverse repo is 4% and the difference is 350, that is 3.5%, the repo rate is 7.5. Now, if both of those increase by 2%, the 7.5 becomes 9.5%. Right? Mayank, I think we have an email ID, right? I will share that email ID probably, right? You can ask those questions on that email ID, and we would be happy to answer those, right? Or if you have any doubts, just I'll be say be active on the class, right? I can answer live any doubts and any thoughts here itself. But sure, I'll probably share that email ID as well. Right? I'm not very sure if it's working or not for this session, but I'll get back to you on that. Okay, okay, wonderful, wonderful. If it's clear now, right? So the five concepts of basis, repo, reverse repo, SLR, CRR, we have covered, right? Any doubts, we'll take it up. Let us go to the second organization, which is Sebi. The second organization is called Sebi, Securities and Exchange Board of India, right? All of you who are interested in markets and stock markets, even if you're not interested, you know about this, right? Sebi, which is Securities and Exchange Board of India. So set up by Sebi Act 1992, right? The controller of capital issues was the regulatory authority before Sebi. So before Sebi came into picture, the authority which was taking care of the stock exchanges was controller of capital issues, right? Just a general information, this could come as a question. So just there on the screen, that controller of capital issues was the regulatory authority before Sebi, right? Okay. The chairman of Sebi is appointed by the central government, right? The chairman is appointed by the central government, who is a person of standing and integrity. in the field of law or in the field of finance or accountancy or economics, right? Chairman is appointed by central government, and two members. We are talking about the board of SEBI. What are we talking about? We are talking about the board of SEBI. In the board of SEBI, the chairman is appointed by central government. You have two members who are nominated by the central government, right? There are two members from the officials of the Ministry of Central Government, right? There are two officials from the central government who are nominated by the central government to become the members of board of SEBI. Another one member is from amongst the officials of RBI, right? Amongst the officials of RBI, there is one member who is nominated by RBI to become the board member of SEBI, all right? And there are five other members, right? There are five other members, out of which three shall be whole-time members. There are five other members, out of which three shall be whole-time members appointed by central government, right? Appointed by central government. They are not nominated, but they're appointed by central government, right? So the board of SEBI has a chairman appointed by central government, two members nominated by central government, one member nominated by RBI from RBI, and five other members, out of which three are whole-time members, and they're appointed by the central government. As simple as that, right? Now, what is the responsibility of the SEBI? What is the responsibility of this board? These board members who are appointed and who are nominated by such big institutions like central government or RBI, what do they have to do while being part of the SEBI, right? They have to protect the interest of the investor. They have to protect the interest of the investor, right? They have to promote the development of securities market, protect the interest of the investors, promote the development of securities market, and to regulate. That means to keep a check, right? That means to keep a check in the securities market and any other related matters, from these three: protect the interest of the investor, promote development of securities market, and to keep a check in the securities market, right? Why securities market? Because Securities and Exchange Board of India, right? So these are the responsibilities of SEBI. Three major responsibilities: protect the interest, promote development, and regulate the securities market, right? Okay. Now coming to responsibilities of SEBI, right? We were talking about the three, which is protect, promote, and regulate the securities market. But let us also understand it in depth, right? So SEBI has to be responsive. What does responsive mean? Responsive is whenever they see something is going wrong in the securities market, they have to function, they have to take control, and they have to resolve those issues, right? So SEBI has to be responsive to the needs of three groups, right? The three major groups who are constituting the securities market, they have to be responsive to that. They have to find out what are the different issues they are facing, what are the problems that are there in the market, what are the new problems that are coming, what are the ongoing problems, and they have to resolve it, which are related to three groups, right? The first is the issuer of security, right? The listed companies we were talking about, right? In chapter 1, we were understanding the listed companies, limited companies, right? These companies are the issuer of securities, like debentures, like shares, equity shares, preference shares. These are called securities, right? So SEBI has to take care of the needs of these companies who are issuers of securities. The second is the investors, like you and me, right? The people who are buying these shares, who are buying these debentures. SEBI has to take care of our needs as well, right? And the third is the market intermediaries, like mutual funds and brokers who are actually letting the transactions happen, right? The intermediaries of the market, the brokers and mutual funds, right? Which are actually helping the investor to invest in the issuer of securities, right? So three people: the people who are issuing shares and debentures, the people who are buying shares and debentures, and third, the people who are facilitating this transaction, the market intermediaries, right? So SEBI has to look after all of these, right? Okay, I see a few questions. Good that it's clear now, Kriti. Good that it's clear, right? Hmm. When the reverse repo rate will increase, the repo rate will also increase. If that answers your question, right? Because only then it will make sense, right? If I tell you, you give me 10 rupees and I'll give you back 12 rupees, and then and if I say, all right, now give me 15 rupees, but I'll still give you back 12 rupees, right? That doesn't happen. You will ask for more than 15. So similarly, if the reverse repo is increasing, the rate will also increase. And that example was basically just to give you the concept of what is reverse repo, what is repo, and what is basis point, right? Okay. Any questions, any doubts, anything that is not clear till now? We'll take 30 seconds and try to resolve all those for anything that we have covered till this slide, till SEBI, right? Regulate is nothing but to keep a check, right? That everything goes as planned. There are no issues, there are no hiccups, right? So regulators keep a check on the securities market and take care of the needs of these three groups. Right? That is regulate. Okay. Anything? Great, Pooja. Thanks for saying that everything is clear. That gives me confidence that we're going on the right track. All right, let us move on to the next thing. What are the functions? We were talking about SEBI, right? We were talking about Securities and Exchange Board of India. We studied who are the board members. What does the board of SEBI look like? Chairman, two members nominated by central government, one member from the RBI, five other members appointed by central government. Then we took then we took a view of what are the responsibilities of SEBI, right? And now we're talking about the functions of SEBI. Now, what is the difference between responsibilities and function, right? In all these chapters, even in class 11th and 12th, when we were studying business studies, I always used to get, I always had this confusion. What are the difference between functions, responsibilities, roles? Like, what are the different characteristics? What are benefits? Like, then if you look at the word itself, right, the the if I say what are the responsibilities and what are the functions, right, there's a huge difference. Now my responsibility is to be a good human, right? But what is my function? My function is to act in the right way, right? So that is the difference. Your responsibility is a very broader thing, while your function is actually what you have to do, right? Just we like we discussed mission and vision, right? Vision is what you want to achieve and mission is how you want to achieve. The responsibility is to take care of the needs of these three groups. The function is how it takes care of these three groups. That is the function of SEBI, and we will study that, right? So first is quasi-legislative, right? So SEBI drafts regulations in its legislative capacity, right? Because it is formed under its own act, because it has its own act, it is constituted by its own act, it is quasi-legislative, right? It is not like a court, but it is quasi-legislative, right? Somewhat. It is somewhat like a court. That is why we use the word quasi, if you can understand. It's not an actual court, but it is more like a court. It is more like a legislative body in relation to securities market. So it drafts its own regulations and it's in its legislative capacity, in its lawmaking, in its rule making capacity, right? Quasi judicial, that is what we're talking. Judicial then again comes from court. Legislative is more about making laws. It is more like Lok Sabha, right? I would say it is more like parliament, right? Parliament is a legislative place. It is a legislative organization, right? Similarly, SEBI is a legislative organization, somewhat, not in the exact form, and that is why it can make regulations and rules on its own. Second is judicial. It can pass rulings and orders, right? Now, SEBI can say that particular, let us say, XYZ companies' shares are very volatile or they're trying to scam general public through securities market. So SEBI can pass rulings and orders that this particular company is banned from stock exchanges, or they cannot issue this kind of shares, or they cannot issue these kind of debentures, right? So that is quasi judicial. It is not a court. It is not a court, but in its capacity of securities market, in relation to securities market, it is the court. In relation to securities market, it is the court, right? So SEBI passes rulings and orders in its judicial capacity. Quasi-executive, right? Quasi-executive, which means it conducts investigations and enforcements. Like we have police in the general context. In security market context, SEBI can take that power also. It can conduct investigations, it can enforce, it can take enforcement actions in its executive function, right? That is why the word quasi is used, which means somewhat. It is not it is not police, it is not parliament, it is not high court, supreme court, it is not police or armed forces, but in its capacity for securities market, it is somewhat like that. It is somewhat like that. That is why quasi, right? Okay. Suprata, I've been explaining what is quasi for the last 5 minutes, right? Yes, I am going a little fast, but Prashant, we will have to keep up with the time, right? But I hope all the questions are answered. That is the main focus, right? Hmm. Great, 70. Suprita, I think it's clear what is quasi. It is somewhat. Great. All right. I think that clears most of the doubts, right? I'll take 10 seconds. Yes, Kushi, just like quasi contracts, right? They're not the actual contracts, but somewhat the identity, the characteristic is like that of a contract. Similarly, quasi legislative, quasi judicial, and quasi executive, SEBI, right? Okay, going on to the main idea of this chapter, we are talking about organizations which are facilitating business. We're talking about organizations which are facilitating business, which are helping business. Now, how is SEBI helping businesses? All right. Number one, it is developing India's capital market. The latest example, the best example is IPOs, right? So a lot of IPOs are coming in the country, like Burger King or Barbecue Nation, right? You have Indigo Paints. You had so many new companies coming with IPOs. Even Zomato is coming with an IPO now. Even Nika is coming with an IPO now. So that is how the Indian capital market is developing. The people can invest in growing businesses. Businesses can grow by coming to a securities market and get funds from the public and grow together as an economy. SEBI is helping in developing such a scenario. SEBI is helping in developing such an environment for businesses to grow through funds of the public. While general public who has access to all this, which is now at the fingertip, right? You can invest in shares in 2 clicks on your phone. That is how the system is being developed, right? That is how the economy is developing. Second is facilitating overseas entities, right? It facilitates overseas entities, which means even the foreign companies or foreign. We studied about FDI. Now, in FDI wants to invest in a listed company, SEBI looks after it. SEBI takes care that the correct information, the correct money, the right form of money is invested in the country, right? The third is it is responsible for investors' faith. Not every company can go for an IPO. There is a lot of compliance, there's a lot of regulation that is to be taken care of before a company can come to a securities market and raise money from general public. That is what SEBI ensures. That is what SEBI ensures, and that is how it is facilitating only the good businesses, right? Only the good businesses which have a good intent, right? They are being facilitated to grow in the economy so that the economy grows in a positive fashion, right? Not that every second company that is in the securities market is scamming people. No one would want to be investing their money in this share market or securities market, right? SEBI has to ensure that, and that is how it is helping the good businesses to grow, right? Now, Question on your screen. IPO, I think Veni Jyoti, it's the very basic concept you should be aware about is initial public offering. We also studied this in previous session, right? Whenever a new company wants to list its shares or list its securities on share market, it is called IPO. The first time if when a company lists it or goes to the stock exchange, it's called IPO, right? Study about it on the internet. It's the very basic thing you should know, right? Go and Google it. You will love reading about it. Okay, the question is on the screen. The question is on the screen. Which of the following does SEBI not cater to? Which of the following does SEBI not cater to? Right? What do you think? SEBI is not catering to which of these? The investors, the intermediaries, the government organizations, or security issuing companies? Which of the following is SEBI not catering to? No answers yet. Let me refresh my page and I hope. Great. I see answers now. Happy to see answers. Right, Jyoti? If you still have doubts on IPO, I'll be happy to help you. Right? I've given you an hint. What is IPO? Read about it. Like and come back if you still have doubts. Happy to help you. But the focus on the question right now, which is on the screen, which of the following does SEBI not cater to? Great. Okay. Okay. Most of you have got it right. And the correct answer is yes, it's government organizations. The SEBI is catering to investors, to intermediaries or brokers and mutual funds, and just security issuing companies, the companies who are issuing shares and securities in the market. But it is not catering to any government organization, right? Okay. With that, we complete SEBI. Great. Okay. Let us go on to the next organization, which is CCI, which is Competition Commission of India, right? It is in the name. Competition Commission of India. It is Competition Commission of India. What does it do, right? I'll take 30 seconds. I want any one of you or few of you to answer. What do you think does Competition Commission of India do? What is it doing? Why is there a Competition Commission of India? What is it doing? How is it facilitating a business? Why is it important for a country to have a competition commission? Right? Ankit will come to your question at the end, right? Because we have covered this and we'll take this at the end, right? Do recall me. What do you think the Competition Commission of India does? Right? The answer is in the name. The answer is in the name. Okay. I have answers which is saying they maintain fair competition. That is right. That is right. They maintain fair competition. Why is fair competition important? Right. My question, yes, to control unreasonable competition, to regulate free and fair competition between companies. That is right. But why is it important, right? Why can't just two or three companies do everything if they're doing it good, right? If let us suppose there are two, three companies only and they're doing everything and they're doing it good, why do you need a competition? Let us all just enjoy what those two or three companies are doing. Why should we even have a competition in the economy, right? Why not just give all the resources to two, three companies and they do everything in the best possible way? Why should there be a competition in the economy? Sure, Soumya, I'll take your question also at the end. Just recall me when I close the session. Just drop those questions, right? I'll be happy to answer. Yes, to prevent monopolies, to control competition, for creating competition, to ensure competition. I see all the answers, right? It creates competition among the companies. That is right. But why competition? Okay, so Prada says that the companies don't indulge in malpractices. Okay, monopoly, right? So that they do not become like a dictator, that they do not start charging 5,000 rupees for one tomato. Okay, to promote a healthy competition. That is right. That is right. That is why we have a commission, right? That is, you're absolutely right, on the right track, and that resolves the entire concept of competition commission of India, right? To motivate companies, there should be best option available for the consumers. Absolutely right. The consumer should have the choice who he or she wants to buy from, right? There should be options in the economy. That is why there should be competition. Correct. Absolutely right. To protect the customer, for welfare of the consumer. Great, great. Smart bunch of people, right? Okay. So let us understand, what does this commission do? We got the concept. Why should there be a competition? Why is competition there? Why is there a commission for it, right? But what does it do? How does it ensure that? Okay. So with increased competition, the producers will have maximum incentive to innovate and specialize. When there is a competition, only then they will innovate and specialize, right? This would result in reduced cost and wider choice to the consumers. Absolutely right, what you guys are saying. A fair competition is essential to achieve this objective, right? Absolutely, absolutely. You all are right. Correct. If there is no competition, it will become a monopoly, right? Bull and bear markets function under Sebi. I would say yes, but that question is a bit. I would say this, that is a kind of a market. That is not a market. That is just a trend. Okay, okay, great. The bull and bear is just a trend. It is not a market. It is just a trend in the market. Okay, so the focus right now is competition commission. So competition commission is there to ensure that there is fair competition, because if there is competition, there will be innovation and specialization in the economy. Only then the consumer will get good and better options, and only then the economy will have an opportunity to grow. Only then the businesses in the economy will have an opportunity to grow. And that is how competition commission is facilitating businesses. Only if Tata and Birla keep on doing all the businesses, what about small shopkeepers? What about different farmers? What about different professionals? What about all the general people who are working, all the big and small other companies that are functioning? What will they do? Or we all can't just sit at home and let Tata do everything, right? That is why there has to be a competition. Now, there should be free and fair competition. You guys just told that. There should be free and fair competition to get the following benefits. First, it encourages innovation, right? Only when there is competition, you would want to win over that competition by bringing something new. Innovation. It increases efficiency. That spelling is wrong. It's not efficiency, it's efficiency. So it increases efficiency, right? You're more efficient. Even if you look at yourself, if your friend is studying for 7 hours or 8 hours and you're just studying for 4 hours, because you're competing with them, you will start studying more. That increases your efficiency. It punishes the laggards, which means the companies and businesses which are lazy, the companies and businesses which are lazy, they will lose the business, because there is competition, and only the good and successful businesses stay in the market, right? Which are pumping money in the economy, right? It punishes the laggards, it punishes the lazy businesses. It boosts choice, improves quality, and reduces costs. It boosts choice. Consumer has more choices. It improves the quality of the goods and services, and it reduces the cost. Because if there is competition, people cannot charge very varied amounts, right? If a shop is selling, let us suppose a shop is selling a laptop for 50,000 rupees, and another shop cannot, I think it is not possible for that shop to sell the same laptop for even 65,000 rupees, because you will know that the other shop is selling it for 50,000 rupees. You will buy it for 50,000 rupees. It reduces costs, right? It ensures availability of acceptable quality at affordable prices. That is again the same example. If the laptop is there at an affordable price, it ensures that the customer, the consumer gets the best product at the best price available, right? That is what competition does. Okay. Now the competition law. The competition law. For this, the government created a law. The competition law is a tool to implement and enforce. Look at the words that are underlined in bold, right? It is a tool to implement and enforce, to prevent and punish anti. What is this? Implementing and enforcing competition policy. It is implementing and enforcing competition policy. It is preventing and punishing anti-competitive business practices. How? By unnecessary by firms and unnecessary government interference in the market. Right now, the competition law does not allow even the government to interfere in the market. The competition law does not allow even the government to regulate or come into market and disrupt competition, right? The competition law is against the concept that the government will come and control the market, right? That is what competition law does. It creates a fair competition and it removes and prevents unnecessary government interference. Okay, the act prohibits, it does not allow. The act does not allow anti-competitive agreements. It does not allow anti-competitive agreements, which means, what is anti-competitive agreement? Anti-competitive agreement is, let us suppose I and you get into an agreement and I tell you, if you sell this product to me, you can only sell this product to me. You cannot sell it to anyone else. Okay. If you and me get into an agreement, only we both will trade. You cannot sell this product to anyone else. Otherwise, I will cancel the contract. I will not buy it from you. I will degrade your product in the market. I will harm the credibility or brand value, right? So this act does not allow such agreements, anti-competitive agreements, right? Abuse of dominant position. It does not allow abuse of dominant position. If a company is very dominant, right? Even if you look at Geo right now, if Geo is disrupting the economy, it is still there will be a time, let us suppose hypothetically it destroys Airtel as well, right? It destroys Airtel and it is the only company in telecom sector. Even then the competition law will not let it abuse its position. It will still be there, it will be enforced, and this law will protect the consumer. All right. It regulates combinations like acquisitions, acquiring of control, and M&A. Competition law also looks after your acquisitions, your M&A transactions, your acquiring of control transactions, right? Competition law takes care of that as well. So that let us suppose there is one company, right? Like let us suppose there is Flipkart. Flipkart is buying PhonePe, Flipkart is buying Jabong, Flipkart is buying Mintra to consolidate power in its hands, right? Now this is all regulated by Competition Commission of India. If they think this is okay, if they think this is, it will not harm the consumers so much so that that will actually harm the economy or the competition in the market, they will let it be. If they think it is going to harm, it is going to harm all the small producers, it is going to harm all the small shopkeepers, they will not let that acquisition happen, right? That is what Competition Commission, Competition Act, competition law takes care of. Okay, great. Before I come to features, let me see if we are going on the right track. Okay, Lagard's is lazy, correct? Lazy. Great. It is important because it is provides a level playing field. Absolutely right. It is important because it provides a level playing field. That is right. Correct, Suprada. If there is no government intervention, then the price of necessities rise. I don't think so. I don't think so because you remember India is a mixed economy, right? Always try to think from 360-degree views, right? So India is a mixed economy. Your necessities will have a major control from the government itself, right? You have ration shops, you have small shops in small cities and towns where the government is giving out those rice, wheat, sugar, salt at very low prices, right? So necessities will always be taken care of. M&A is mergers and acquisitions, right? When two or more companies combine, one company buys some other company, that is mergers and acquisitions. M&A, that is the short form. All right. Let us move on to the features. Let us move on to the features. All right, great. If everything is clear, I'm happy to see that. Okay. The third point, Sandeep, is simple. It is not. It will not allow such an acquisition that the new company that is formed through that acquisition becomes so dominant in the economy that it harms the consumers or small businesses. Right. If let us suppose Amazon goes and buys all the small businesses and then shuts them down, Competition Act will not allow that, right? Because it wants all the small shopkeepers to work as well, right? So that is what that point is. Okay, coming to the features of Competition Act, the features, right? It is to prevent practices having an adverse effect on competition, to protect the interest of the consumers, to ensure freedom of trade amongst the businesses, and it replaces MRTP Act, right? So the Competition Act came in 2002. Before Competition Act, there was an act called MRTP, which was Monopolistic and Restrictive Trade Practice Act. Now, this act was cancelled, and a new act called the Competition Act 2002 was initiated, implemented, enforced. All right. So the Act 2002 provides the establishment of Competition Commission of India. Under Competition Act 2002, there is a commission that is formed, which is called Competition Commission of India, CCI, right? And this act prescribes its duties, its functions, and its powers, right? Competition Act has created, established Competition Commission of India, and it defines its duties, functions, and powers. Okay. Now, quiz, I think the number is wrong. Okay. Does Competition Act cover reducing government interference in competitive markets? What do you think? Sure, Bhuj, I'll try to speak loudly. For that, I'll need some water and then I'll talk loudly. Great. Okay. Wonderful. The question is on the screen. Does Competition Act cover reducing government interference in competitive markets? Does it cover that? Yes or no? I think easy question, 10 seconds only should be given. Okay, great. Thanks, Sandeep, if that clears. Veni will come to that. Your question will be covered. Yes or no? Does Competition Act cover reducing government intervention? Okay, just 3-4 more seconds. Great, 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 great. Yes, the correct answer is yes. It covers reducing government intervention. It reduces government interference. Yes, it reduces government interference in competitive markets. All right, we are talking about Competition Commission of India, right? If you just look at the top right corner of the slide, non-funding organization, right? RBI does not fund businesses. Sebi does not fund businesses, does not give money to businesses. Competition Commission of India does not give money to businesses, but it ensures a good environment for businesses. It facilitates businesses, right? Non-funding government institution, correct? Non-funding government organization. So a CCI, that is Competition Commission of India, consists of a chairperson and 6 members appointed by central government. Correct? A chairperson and 6 members appointed by the central government to eliminate practices having adverse effect on the competition, the duties and functions. We are talking about the duties and functions of CCI, that is your Competition Commission of India, right? To eliminate practices which have adverse effect on the competition, to promote competition, to promote good competition in the economy, to protect the interest of the consumers, and to ensure freedom of trade in the markets. As simple as that. What was there to be done by Competition Act is taken care of as a duty and function of CCI. Ensure freedom of trade, protect interest of the consumers, promote good competition, and eliminate practices which are bad for the competition, right? This is what the duties and functions of CCI, which has a chairperson and 6 members appointed by central government. Great. Now, what are to achieve, right? To they have this duty, they have these functions to be done, but to achieve this, to make this happen, how does it protect the interest of consumer? How will it promote competition? How will it eliminate adverse effect practices? How will it ensure freedom of trade? Like this, right? It will make the markets work for the benefit and welfare of consumers. It will create a market where the consumer is the king, right? It ensure fair and healthy competition for inclusive growth of the economy, right? Effectively carry out competition advocacy. That means wherever something is going wrong, wherever they think that the competition is going wrong, wherever there is monopoly, wherever something is going wrong with the businesses, they will take care of that. They will advocate that. They will fight for it. They will regulate it, right? And spread information on benefits of competition amongst all stakeholders, right? They implement competition policies with an aim to effectuate the most efficient utilization of resources, right? Let us suppose there is a company which is very dominant and it starts exploiting resources of the economy, right? Let us suppose I am a company. If you look at the live example of oxygen cylinders, right? If you look at the right, at the example of oxygen cylinders, it is an economic resource. It is a resource of the country. Now, if I say only 2 or 3 companies are producing those cylinders, they might be exploiting that resource, right? Had there been 100 good producers of oxygen around the country, 100 good big companies producing oxygen in the country, there could be better management, right? There could be less exploitation, less wastage, more easy supply of these resources, right? So this is something their policies, that Competition Commission of India's policies can effectuate, right? This is what the basic idea of having a commission is, so that it is the essential products, the economic resources are used in the right and in the best possible manner, right? Okay. Can a CA be a member of CCI? Absolutely yes. If the central government appoints you, right? If you become some official in the central government, and if the central government appoints you to become a member of CCI, you can be a member of CCI. There is no bar on your degree, right? So work hard so that the government of India nominates you, that we want Veni Shravanan to become the member of CCI. Okay. Coming to the very basic fact that how is it facilitating businesses? The chapter is organizations facilitating businesses, but how is CCI facilitating a business? Fair competition helps businesses to thrive, to grow, to build on, to expand, to explore opportunities. That is what thrive is. Fair competition helps businesses to thrive as they have fair grounds to compete and flourish, right? And this is ensured by Competition Commission of India. That is what Competition Commission of India does. It creates a fair competition environment in the economy so that all businesses, big and small, can function in harmony, can be innovative, can develop, can grow, can have a fair ground of competing. If they are lazy, they will be thrown out the market. If they are good, innovating, they're giving best quality products at affordable prices, they will grow. That is what is ensured by Competition Commission of India, which is created under Competition Act of 2002, right? Okay. Before I move on to the fourth and the last non-funding organization, right? I would want 30 seconds if you have any doubts and thoughts. We'll do that, Simran. We'll do reverse repo. I think I covered that again, but we'll take it up again at the last. We'll do that. Be assured. Hmm. Yes, Serum Institute selling vaccination. Then again, I think there would be something from Competition Commission of India. There would be some questioning, some regulation that should be coming from CCI. If it is not competitive, right? They cannot be taking benefit of their dominance. Right? That is what CCI has to do. It will play a role, absolutely. If you read somewhere on the internet, you will find that CCI is doing something on it, right? Okay. Any more thoughts? Any more questions that from this? Great, great. If everything is clear, I'm happy. In India, I don't think so. There is monopoly, right? I'm not sure if there is any monopoly in any industry. There could be oligopoly, which is like automotive. In your automotive industry, we have very few major brands, right? You can count the number of brands in who make cars in India, or who make bicycles, or I can say in who make two wheelers in India, right? You can count the number of companies on your hand. So that is more like a oligopoly. But monopoly, I don't think so is there in India. But I'll be happy to read more on this. That's a good question. I never thought of it. There could be cases. I'll have to read on the internet again. Great. If everything is clear, let us jump on to IRDAI, which is Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. Now, every business, now let us look at the very simple concept, right? We'll do that. Repo, reverse repo is taken, I'll do that. Correct. Okay. Okay. Now, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. Now, do you think, how would a business, how would this particular organization actually help a business, right? I'll tell you how. Now, a business, let us suppose a small or big, has to insure itself. It has to insure itself for losses, for any maybe the factory burns down, or people start like getting out of the company, it start making losses, its assets start depreciating, the health of the owner starts deteriorating, or something or the other which affects the business. A business person, a businessman, a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, and a promoter, anyone who is owning a business, right? They would want to insure their business. They would want to insure their business, be it a professional. Any person in the general public also would want to insure themselves. Life insurance, general insurance, right? Any kind of insurance. They would want to do that, right? And that is where IRDAI, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, comes into picture. That it ensures that all the companies which are giving out insurance, like ICICI Prudential, Bajaj Insurance, or your ICICI Lombard, or your HDFC Insurance, whoever is giving out insurance in the market, is doing it in the right way, is not scamming people, is not cheating people, but is facilitating that business, but it is doing the business in the right fashion. Or which business? The insurance business. The insurance business, right? Okay. So Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, it is an autonomous apex statutory body. Autonomous means it acts on its own, right? Autonomous is it is independent, it acts on its own. Apex means topmost. It is the topmost insurance regulatory body in India, right? It was constituted under IRDA Act, which is Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority Act of 1999. Correct? The role is to protect the rights of the policyholders, to provide registration certification to the companies. It registers, it makes sure that all the companies who are doing insurance business in India, they are registered under this act. And when they're registered under this act, they have to prepare certain reports. Their financials are different. They have to report their functions to IRDAI, that they're doing the right thing. They're doing the business in the right fashion. They are not cheating people. There are no hiccups. There is no problem in the business, right? Registration certification of life insurance companies, the renewal, modification, cancellation, and suspension and of this registered certificate. They can even renew this certification. They can modify that. You cannot do business in this sector. You cannot insure businesses of, let us suppose, agriculture sector, because your business is not very solid. It may harm the farmers, so it may modify the certificate, it can cancel the certificate, and it can suspend a insurance company's certificate, right? The mission of IRDI, the mission, why, what does it do? What does it do? It protects the interest of the policyholders. We read about it. It brings about speedy and orderly growth of insurance industry. It helps in growing the insurance, right? It helps it helps in ensuring that the insurance industry is growing, right? To set, promote, monitor, and enforce high standards of integrity, right? To set, promote, monitor, and enforce high standards of integrity, right? Of financial soundness, of fair dealing and competence of those it regulates, right? It ensures speedy settlement of genuine claims, right? Now, if let us suppose there's an insurance company and a business says, I have made a lot of losses, there is a mishappening in my business, and I want to claim the insurance amount, and the insurance company is just not helping that business, right? So this IRDAI will make sure that a speedy settlement, that as soon as possible the settlement is done by the insurance company with that business, if the claim is genuine, right? It is not going to help the scamsters who are wanting to scam the insurance company, but if they will check if it is a genuine claim, they will help that business, that individual, to to get a speedy settlement, right? And it also takes actions on such standards and inadequacies or inefficiencies of these insurance companies. It takes actions wherever such problems or something is wrong in the industry, or any of the companies which are registered as as insurance companies. It takes actions against them, right? So protect the policyholders, then promote, monitor, enforce integrity, good faith in the insurance industry, orderly growth of insurance industry, speedy settlement of genuine claims, and take actions wherever things are going wrong. Okay. Now, Section 14 of IRDAI Act, the Section 14 of the Act lays down the duties, powers, and functions, right? The duties, powers, and functions of IRDAI, Section 14 of the Act, all right? Now, what are the duties, powers, and functions? What are the duties, powers, and functions of this insurance development? As simple, again, the same thing. We have studied it. It is just point wise. Issue certificates of registration. We just covered this. It issues certificates of registration to the companies which want to do insurance business, protect the interest of policy holders. It specifies the qualifications, the code of conduct, and practical training for the intermediaries and agents, right? Now you would see there are LIC agents, there are insurance agents, like the people who are actually being an agent to the insurance company. So it ensures that only the well qualified people become agents of insurance, right? Become insurance agents, so that it does not harm the industry. It does not harm the insurance industry. If the wrong kind of people become agents who are selling insurances to small businesses or poor businesses or early businesses, it might hamper the insurance industry as it is, right? People would not say that the agent is wrong, but they will say that insurance in India is very poor, right? The getting insurance in India is very tough. So to ensure that such a scenario does not happen, this specify the qualification for anyone who wants to become an agent. They specify the code of conduct, how you have to behave, what all you can do, what all you cannot do as an agent of insurance. Right? That is what IRDI does. Then it promotes professional organizations to ensure that insurance and reassurance businesses are done in the right fashion. Right? Even chartered accountants are doing special audit for insurance companies. There is a special kind of financial statements for insurance companies. Right? Just like banking companies, insurance companies also have a separate format for financial statements. Then levying of fees and other charges. Right? It takes a fees and charge for the certification, right? It is giving out a certificate, and it is taking fees and charges for that, and calling for information, because it is regulating the insurance companies. It calls for information, that give me a report, what are the kind of businesses you are doing, what are the kind of what are the number of policies you are insuring, period, what are the settlements which are due for more than 1 year, for more than 2 years, what are the claims which you have cancelled or disallowed. It takes a report of all those things so that the insurance business in India is ensured and is it in a good faith, right? So this is what IRDI does, right? Moving on to some small points, what IRDI does, it controls and regulates, right? That is what we've been studying. The general insurance business or the life insurance business, it is controlling, it is regulating those businesses, right? Then regulating investments of these insurance companies, that these insurance companies are also making investments with the money they have. So whether they're making the investments in the right way, where is that money being used, whether is it being used for the right things, it is checking everything about the insurance company. In short, if I can tell you, it is checking each and everything about the insurance company, right? Then let me come to this one, which is important point here is specifying the percentage of life insurance business and general insurance business to be undertaken by the insurer in the rural and social sector. This is one of the important things, right? This is one of the important things that the IRDI is doing, right? So IRDI is also advising, it is specifying that out of the uh, total business that you do, certain percentage of your policies have to be given to rural and social sector, right? Social sector being like your handicraft or people working in NGOs or something which has social factor there, right? In rural and social sectors, you have to sell certain percentage of policies there. You have to ensure that those people are also insured, right? That is what it specifies, IRDAI, right? And that is what IRDA is all about. IRDA, I'll just crisply revise that and then we will take up any doubts. IRDA is Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India. It is an autonomous apex body, right, at the top of regulating all the insurance businesses of India, right, to protect the interest of policy holders, growing the insurance industry in India, speedy settlement of genuine claims, take action wherever things are going wrong in the insurance industry, right? Section 14 of IRDA Act is also is it lays down the duties, powers, and functions. What are the duties, powers, and functions? Issue certificates, take charges for that, protect the interest of policyholders, specify the qualifications and code of conduct for the agents of who are selling insurance, right? Promoting professional organizations, taking reports from those insurance companies. What are you doing? What are the kind of policies you are selling? Where is the money that you are getting from policyholders being invested, right? Then what is the kind of and the manner of books that you are maintaining, like books of accounts I was telling you, different financial statements for them, right? And it also specifies the percentage of life insurance business and general insurance business that is to be given out, or that is to be actually done in rural and social sectors of the economy, right? Great. Okay. See, margin of solvency is again same as your like CRR or SLR, right? Margin of solvency. This is I think I will cover. This is covered in chapter 6, so we'll cover this in chapter 6 in depth, right? What is margin of solvency? It's a bit longer concept. We'll cover that there, which is I think tomorrow only we'll cover that. Okay. So be assured on that. Whatever the difficult terms which are used in this chapter are covered in chapter 6, right? Correct. So supervising tariff advisory committee is nothing but there is an advisory committee under this act which is actually putting the tariffs, right? The rates, the different percentages that are used, assumptions that are used in insurance businesses. So it is also supervising that committee, right? It is supervising that whether the recommendations given by this committee to insurance companies is in line, is it good for the economy, is it good for the small business, is it good for the rural businesses? It also checks that, right? Okay. Which section of IRDI Act can RDI function and impart its duties, right? What is the section that is giving up the duties, functions, and powers of IRDI? What is that section? So I would really want you to study that on internet, because I'll tell you why. Two things. I can explain that very simply. What is superannuation payment? Right? this very concept you have to get right now, because this is something which is very crucial to the entire profession, right, of chartered accountancy, of your own money, right? So I would be happy to answer that, but I would really want you to study first on the internet first. What is superannuation of payment, or what is superannuation funds, right? Very simple concept if you look at a small 2-3 minute video, right? Still, if you have doubts, happy to clear that. Okay. IRDA is just like SEBI for insurance. Great, great. If that helps you understand that, that is absolutely right. Right, Abir. Some chit fund companies like Lakshmi Chit Fund, right? Just like Lakshmi Chit Fund in Hera Fairy, they're making they're fraud. They're taking money from the general public and then scamming people. Great. Okay. Answers on the screen. Wonderful. Wonderful. Each one of you is right, which is section 14, which is section 14 of IRDA Act. Great. Great. Okay. Now the question is, how is insurance a regulatory body facilitating a business, right? Very simple. It takes steps to regulate and develop insurance in the country. As simple as that. If the insurance is good, the businesses feel safe. If the insurance is good, the businesses feel safe, right? It serves as an authority to protect the interests of those businesses, and it disseminates a lot of information for the benefit of policyholders. Disseminates means spreads. It gives out a lot of information for policyholders. Like you may see, you may see a lot of ads that do not go for policies which are wrong, or to take wise decisions and everything. Right? It educates the general public. That is how it is facilitating the businesses. It is facilitating small and big businesses, right? When a business is insured, which is when a business is insured, it feels safe, right, Sandeep? 21 days and the money is doubled. That is not a scheme that you should follow, and that is how IRDAI is educating the general public, right? Great. Now, the idea of this chapter is divided into two sections, right? We were studying about non-funding government institutions. We were studying about non-funding government institutions, the institutions which are not giving out money, Reserve Bank of India, SEBI, Competition Commission of India, and Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. That is right. Now, there are certain organizations which are giving out money to businesses, right? Those are called funding government institutions. Like National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. Under funding government institutions, we will be covering one of the biggest institutions in Asia, I would say, which is funding businesses, which is called NABARD. NABARD is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. It gives out money to businesses, to farmers, to small businesses in rural areas, in urban areas, other related businesses to agriculture. It gives out money, right? So development banks. It is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. But let us first understand, how is this bank? I'm saying it is a national bank. How is this bank different from any other bank, which is HDFC Bank or ICICI Bank or Axis Bank or Yes Bank or State Bank of India? How is this different? It is a development bank, but how is it different? Okay. Now, these financial institutions provide funds and financial assistance to new and upcoming businesses. First thing is, these development banks provide financial assistance to new and upcoming businesses. Easy, understood. Now, development banks are distinguishable for commercial banks. It is different from an HDFC. It is different from the ICICI. It is different from SBI. How? Unlike commercial banks, they do not accept deposits. You cannot deposit money in NABARD. You cannot open an account in NABARD. You cannot get like place an FD in NABARD. All right. They draw their resources from the government and other promoting agencies. They do not take public money. They get money from the government. They get money from the government to help small businesses, right? They get money from the government to help small businesses. Now, how does government, now my question is, how does government give money to these banks? How does government get so much money that they give out to these development banks and then they spend it for small businesses, right? Now, what happens is, here is the answer. RBI, remember RBI? RBI as a business facilitator kept SLR and CRR. Now, RBI said 18% of the money, 18% of the money that the commercial banks have is to be kept in liquid assets. Now, those assets are kept with RBI. All right. Now, those assets are kept with RBI. And we also had 3% of CRR, where some amount, 3% of cash of those commercial banks was to be kept with RBI, right? When that money was kept with RBI, RBI was giving out certain percentage, certain interest on that money. That was called reverse repo, right? Now, the commercial bank is to keep 18% in liquid form, 3% in cash form. Only the balance money it can give out as loan. Now, this 18%, 3% was kept with RBI, on which RBI was giving out interest, which was called reverse repo rate, right? Now, these funds which are placed with RBI, this 18 and 3%, the money that all these commercial banks are placing with RBI, the RBI is giving out to this development bank, right? Now, these funds are placed with development banks to be used by them as funding agents, right? Now, this money is given out to development banks to help small, new, and upcoming business enterprises. Simple, right? Yes, there are taxes also, but taxes are not very huge to cover this. Government has other expenses also. For development banks specifically, the SLR and CRR money is kept for development banks, right? Okay. Now, in India, the genesis of development banks may be traced to. That means, how did development banks come into picture, right? In 1948, we had Indian Finance Corporation of India, which is now a commercial bank. The first development bank was in 1948. It was called Industrial Finance Corporation of India. It is now commercial. Industrial Credit and Investment Corporation of India, that is ICICI Bank. Now, ICICI Bank was also a development bank, but it became a commercial bank later. All right. It was started as a development bank, but it later turned into commercial bank. Then we have IDBI Bank, Industries Development Bank of India. That it is the only industrial development bank in India at present, right? Even this is becoming commercial now. Now, the industrial development, like NABARD is for agriculture and rural development, IDBI was for industrial development, right? From IDBI, like IDBI was a very huge bank. From it, some part there was a small bank that was created. It was called Small Industries Development Bank of India, SIDB, right? From IDBI. Like IDBI was a very huge bank. So for small industries, for developing small industries, there was a small development bank made, which was called SIDB, Small Industrial and Development Bank of India, right? And for agriculture and rural development, we have NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, right? Okay. Now, it is the apex development bank. It is the biggest, it is the topmost development bank in India. Headquarters are at Mumbai and it has branches all over India, right? It has branches all over India. What does it take care? It takes care of the planning, operations, policy related to agriculture and economic activities in rural areas. All the loans, credit, funds that are going into agriculture sector in the country is taken care by NABARD. It is taken care by NABARD, all right? Most important institution which looks after development of the agriculture sector is very huge, right? We think agriculture is very small, agriculture is just crops, but agriculture is cottage industry, small industries processing. All your dals and pulses are processed in small industries, sugar, salt, cotton, right? All these are agriculture based industries. So NABARD is taking care of those industries on the credit side, on the economic activities in those rural areas, right? Village industries, other rural industries, all of these are taken care of by NABARD, right? I see a few questions. What is the difference between liquid form of money in SLR and cash form? Very simple answer for this, Prashant, would be liquid is something that can be converted into cash easily, and cash is actual cash. All right. A development bank is converted into commercial bank because you also have to have banks in the economy for the general public, right? If you see at the timeline, 1948, India just got independence. It had to develop as a nation. It wanted development banks. It had to help poor people. It had to help the country. When the company became stable somewhat 1980s, 1990s, these banks converted into commercial banks for general public, right? That is why. Okay. Absolutely, yes. NABARD offers funds with very less interest. Sometimes even they do not want the money back when the industry or the businesses are very poor in the economy. Right? They're just giving out money with an aim that this money would not come back. Right? That is also happening. Great. So what does it do? What does NABARD do? What does NABARD do? It improves the credit delivery system. It improves the credit delivery system in rural areas. All right. In villages, small towns, small agriculture businesses, it improves the credit delivery system so that they can get loans easily, so that more bank branches are there in there. So easy money can be easily transferred in rural areas. It improves that system. It coordinates with governments, with RBI, with commercial banks. It creates a connection in the rural area where the money can flow, right? It coordinates with rural financing activities. It coordinates the entire system where the money flows in agriculture sector, right? It undertakes monitoring and evaluation of projects, right? Of refinancing. Refinancing means loan for loan. It let us suppose a farmer has taken a loan from some bank, right, from a cooperative bank, and he is not able to repay. NABARD gives loan to certain businesses and farmers to repay their loan, right? Loan for loan. NABARD is also giving out loans so that the person can give out loan to the main bank, and then they only have to repay loan to NABARD at lower interest rate, right? That is also happening. That is also NABARD is doing. In general sense, if you go to a bank and tell them that I have to pay a loan, can you give me a loan? I have to repay a loan. The bank will give you a slap and send you home that I'm not giving you a loan because you are already not able to repay a loan, right? But NABARD will give that person a loan in agriculture sector so that he or she can repay their main loan. That is called refinancing, right? So that is how it is helping those agriculture businesses. It refinances, right? It refinances that loan for loan. Okay, it development of institutions which help in rural economy. It also developing cottage industries. It is helping those shares. It is creating warehouses in rural areas so that farmers and small businesses can store their goods and their produce, right? It keeps a check on client institutions, right? Rural area businesses, small money lenders. It is also taking care of that. It regulates institutions which are providing credit help in rural economy. It gives training facilities to institutions working in the field of rural upliftment. It also gives out training to the people free of cost or through institutions so that more people can work efficiently in rural areas. It regulates and the cooperative banks, right? The cooperative banks which are there in rural areas where certain group of people come together and create a small bank for rural development. It also regulates, it keeps a check on them so that they're not scamming or not taking disadvantage or taking an advantage of the poor farmer, of the small shop, of the small business person in the agriculture sector, right? Now we were talking about NABARD refinances, right? We were talking about NABARD refinances, which is this is available to whom? This is available to state cooperative banks, the state cooperative agriculture banks, banks, your commercial banks and other financial institutions approved by RBI, right? It is refinancing means if you've taken a loan from cooperative bank, an agriculture producer has taken a loan from cooperative bank or a commercial bank or a rural development bank, a smaller bank than a NABARD, they will refinance. They will give out loan to repay that loan, right? It is also known for SHG bank linkage program. What is SHG bank linkage program? Very simple. SHG is self-help groups, right? We know what is, what is self-help group? A self-help group is nothing but, let us suppose there are 15, 20 poor women in rural areas, right? They come together and everyone pays 100 rupees every month, right? Now they pay 100 rupees every month, like 20 women, so 2000 rupees in the pool. Now, anyone out of those 20 needs that money that particular month, they take that 2000 rupees that month, and similarly, this keeps on going because every month they are also paying 100 rupees in that pool, right? So that is what self-help group is. Now, the size can be 20, size can be 200, size can be 2000 women or men or people, right? So NABARD is also known for linking these groups, linking these self-help groups to banks. It is also known for linking these groups to the banking system, right? And NABARD has also a portfolio of watershed development, tribal development. They do the watershed development. They're spending money in watershed development. They're spending money in tribal development. They're spending money in farm innovation through dedicated funds, right? They have this money. They are not just using money to give out loans, but they're also building industries. They're also building tribal areas. They're also creating opportunities in tribal areas, in rural areas, for women, for young adults, right? They're creating opportunities in the rural areas through this money, right? This is what NABARD as a whole, as a development bank, which is a funding organization, of the government, is facilitating businesses in agriculture and rural areas, right? This is NABARD. All right, let me look at the questions. Difference between development bank, commercial bank, we talked about it, Jayashree, right? Development banks get money from the government. They do not take money from general public. Okay. And that the organization will be called bank only when it collects deposit as well as lends loan. Correct. Our development bank is also collecting money and giving out loans, but it is just not taking money from the general public, right? It is taking money from the government. As simple as that. That is why it is a bank. Correct. Yes. SLR can be kept in the form of bonds of RBI. That is right. Bonds are also liquid assets. That is SLR. SHG is not a chit fund. Chit fund is a different concept. SHG is a self-help group. Chit fund is not for help. It is more like it is. I don't know what to say about it. But SHG is particularly very business oriented, very close knit group where this thing happens, right? PPTs are not being able to download. I will check that. I will have to check with the technical team. Let me see. I'll talk to them once if that happens, right? You should be able to download that. Let me check on that. Okay. SAG is not chit fund, right? Who will bear the loss if the funds lent out by NABARD are not returned? The government, the taxpayer, right? The taxpayer is taking all that pain. If the money doesn't come back, the government says that this money is used for poor people and we did not get that money back. So that is where the taxpayers' money or the RBI's money or the people who are depositing money in the bank is going. Right? That is how it happens. Because in an economy like India, they have to make expenses for the poor people as well, right? Okay, with that, congratulations. Our chapter 5 is also completed. We have 20 minutes and we will use these 20 minutes for the revision questions, right? We will use these 20 minutes for revision questions. I have around 10 questions for you. I suppose these are going to be tough because the questions are a little lengthy, right? So we'll take a 2 minutes break. It's 3:37 in my clock. By 3:40, we will start this revision. Till then, I will take up questions and I will explain reverse repo and repo. Okay. So let me just come to the repo and reverse repo thing. Your repo rate is the rate at which banks borrow money from RBI, right? It is called a repo rate. Now, what is reverse repo? At the rate at which the banks deposit money in the RBI. I'll give you an example. Okay. Now, let us not take an example of RBI. Let us take a general example. Now, when you go and borrow money from HDFC, let us suppose you go and take a loan from HDFC. HDFC says, I'll give you a loan at 10%. All right. So you say, all right, so this is your repo rate. Now you go and place an FD with HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank says, all right, you're giving me this money as an FD, as a fixed deposit. I will give you 7% of interest. Now this is reverse repo. Just move this concept for RBI and bank. From a bank to a general individual, if you move this concept to RBI and a bank, this is repo and reverse repo. As simple as that. Great. NABARD give loan to commercial banks? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. It is refinancing. It is not giving direct loans, but it is refinancing, which means if a commercial bank has given loan to someone in the agriculture sector and that particular person is not able to repay loan, NABARD will pay off that loan and give that particular money to that person who has taken a loan at a lesser interest rate, right? So that a commercial bank is given you loan at 8%, you are a farmer, you are not able to repay the loan. NABARD will repay that loan and tells you, all right, boss, just give me 3% interest and your loan is repaid. You now just have to give me 3% interest. Your commercial bank loan is repaid. That is refinancing, and that is what NABARD does. Great. Get ready for the revision questions, and we will start that. Great. I think most of the questions are answered. If you still have doubts, do let me know. I'll be happy to answer all of those. And let us start with the questions. All right. Question number 1 on the screen. This is going to be very quick. I want to create an environment which gives you more like an exam feel. All right. Because even in exam, you have to be very quick. You will not get enough time. You have to read an answer, move on to the next question. You might not even get time to revise. So you have to practice with time. All right. Question number 1. When a policy is rational for economic development, but not so for national integration, which of the following should a government opt for? Capitalist form of economy, mixed form of economy, socialist form of economy, or a competitive form of economy? 40 seconds on the clock, and I will give out the answer. I will not wait. I will just keep on moving, right? I will just keep on moving so that you get a flavor of exams. 20 seconds. Okay. Good. I see answers. But not many of you are able to answer. Why is that so? Should I refresh my screen? 10 seconds. Okay. 5 more seconds, and then we will move to the next question. Great. The correct answer is mixed form of economy. When the policy is rational for economic development but not so for national integration, the mixed form of economy should be opted by the government. Question number 2. Presence of Pepsi, Samsung, Honda, Microsoft in India is a result of what? Presence of Pepsi, Samsung, Honda, Microsoft in India is a result of what? Is it privatization? Is it a liberalization? Is it globalization? Or is it foreign direct investment? Small question, 20 seconds only. The answers to why will be taken up in the next session. I would really want you to think thoroughly because this is going to be a little tough. I told you this is going to be a tough revision. I would want you to give time and think, why was this answer? You can go back, look at this session on YouTube, pause the question, understand. And in tomorrow's session, I'll take up each question with an explanation. All right. The answer will be there in 5 seconds. I don't see any answer on my screen. It is the result of what? All right. I have the answers now. Great, 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 great. Okay. See that, see that. Mixed answers. Okay. The correct answer is globalization. The correct answer is globalization. Why is that so? Because they're examples of FDI, but they're result of globalization. All right. They're examples of FDI, but they're result of globalization. Question number 3. RBI as a controller of credit can use which of the following types of powers? RBI as a controller of credit can use which of the following types of powers? Only quantitative, only qualitative, both qualitative and quantitative, or government decides what is to be done by the RBI? Question number 3 is on the screen. RBI as a controller of credit can use which of the following types of powers? What do you think, guys? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? 5 more seconds and then the answer will be on the screen. Okay, okay. I don't see much answers, but all of those who have answered are right. I can tell you that. All right, 2 more seconds. Anyone else wants to answer? I don't see a lot of answers. Are people not getting the questions? Are the questions very tough? The correct answer is both qualitative and quantitative. RBI as a controller of credit can use both qualitative and quantitative types of powers, right? Question number 4. Mr. Sharma. Mr. Sharma wants to invest in securities of Singapore, right? Mr. Sharma wants to invest in securities of Singapore. Which of the following institutions will be concerned with such a transaction? Which of the following institutions will be concerned with such a transaction that Mr. Sharma wants to invest in securities of Singapore? What do you think? RBI, Sebi, Sebi, IRDI, IRDI, RBI, RBI, CCI. Question number 4. Not everyone is answering. Why is that so? I saw a lot of people asking questions but not answering. I want more people to answer. Even if it's a tough one, better to be wrong today than to be wrong in the examination. That is what I always say. Better to be wrong today and learn rather than be wrong in the examination. Right? No one is judging you here, but there you will be judged there. That's the truth. Correct. The correct answer is RBI and SEBI. Both will be concerned with such a transaction, right? RBI because of foreign exchange, FEMA, and SEBI because it is securities based. Okay, Dr. Tulika. Dr. Tulika, editor of National Magazine, advised that the government should sell small parts of PSUs to private players. Right? It should sell small parts of PSUs to private players. What is she suggesting about? Is it disinvestment? Is it divestment? Is it displacement or is it delegation? Dr. Tilika, she's an editor of a national magazine. She says that small parts of PSUs should be sold off to private players. What is she hinting? It's disinvestment, divestment, displacement, or delegation. What is she saying? What is Dr. Tulika advising? What is Dr. Tulika suggesting? What is it that Dr. Tulika is advising? She's just saying the answer. 5 seconds more. Great. She's saying you have to go for divestment, right? Sell small parts of PSU. The key word here is small parts, slowly, steadily. Small parts of PSUs, right? Question number 6 on the screen. Geo offered free services to customers. Still got away with CCI's hammer, right? We were talking about that Geo used to offer free services. When Geo was introduced, it was giving out free services. Still, Competition Commission of India did not do anything, right? Which of the following concepts of business environment can be referred here? This is coming from chapter number 2, clubbed with chapter number 5, right? Which of the following concepts of business environment can be referred here? Is it dynamic? That the business environment is dynamic. What does this thing tell you about? That the business environment is multifaceted. That the business environment, it can be counter influenced, or the business environment has a far reaching impact. Yes, Rakshita, your answers, I can see all the answers. All of those who are typing, I can see all the answers. Question number 6, what does this tell you about business environment? That Geo was doing something which was not competitive, but still it got away with CCI, right? What was that thing? What was that thing? 5 more seconds on the clock. 5 more seconds on the clock. Great. The correct answer is counter influence, because Geo was so powerful, had so much contacts within the government. I could say it had such a strong positioning in the market that it could counter influence the environment. It could actually counter influence. The business environment was not influencing it, rather it was influencing the business environment. So counter influence, right? RBI and SEBI can be termed as what? RBI and SEBI can be termed as what? Independent institutions, government organizations, public affairs think tanks, or India's apex economic forums. RBI and SEBI can be termed as which of the following? RBI and SEBI can be termed as which of the following? What are your thoughts? What do you think? Are they India's apex economic forums? Are they public affairs think tanks, government organizations, or they independent institutions? Question number 7 is on the screen, and I don't see answers yet. Why is that so? Okay, I see a few answers. Good. Great. 5 more seconds, 5 more seconds. Correct. People are getting confused. That means my questions are good, right? That means my questions are good. The correct answer is independent institutions. The correct answer is independent institutions, right? RBI and SEBI can be termed as independent institutions, right? They're not forums. They are not forums. Forum is a very different thing. They're independent institutions. They government does not control them. Government has nothing, no control over them. They can advise, they can work with government. Government works with them, but they're independent institutions, right? Question number 8. NABARD as a development bank is concerned with various segments and issues except what? We just read about NABARD. NABARD as a development bank is concerned by various segments except which of these following? Which of these followings is the option NABARD is not concerned about? Most of you got this previous question wrong, right? That is where the exam oriented questions come into picture. All right, we have a question. What is a forum, right? I'll come to that after this. Once we answer uh, this one, I'll tell you what a forum is. Okay. Answer for MCQ number 8. I see a few answers. Good, good, good. Right. 5 more seconds, and then we will reveal the answer. The correct answer is health of farmers. That is right. NABARD as a development bank is not concerned with the health of farmers. Right. It is more concerned about, like, it is concerned about health of farmers, but not as a development bank, but as a social concept of it. Right. Question number 9. But before we answer question number 9, let me tell you what a forum is. Forum is just more like it's more like a meeting, or it is more like a think tank, right? Where people come and give out their ideas. They sit and discuss the problems and then find solutions for it. That is what a forum is. Like you have World Economic Forum. Like these are some organizations which are thinking, which are giving out ideas for the betterment of the society. That is what a forum is. All right. Question number 9. The following statement talks about public policy, but one of them is false. All right. The following statement talks about public policy, but one of them is false. Which one is false? Which one is false? The following statement talks about public policy, but one of them is false. Which of the following is false? Great. Okay. 5 more seconds and then I'll give out the answer. The correct answer is C, option number C. It is what the people of country want the government to do. That is not what public policy is. It is but what the government wants the people to do. It is not what the people of the country want the government to do. Right? Okay, last question. Last question. Last question. All scheduled banks are required to maintain a certain minimum cash reserve ratio with the RBI. This provision enables RBI to ensure what? This provision enables RBI to ensure what? All scheduled banks are required to maintain a certain minimum cash reserve ratio with the RBI. This provision enables RBI to ensure what in the economy? 5 more seconds. Because in exam, you will not get so much time to think. In exam, you will not get so much time to think. Okay, the correct answer is it enables to ensure a credit position in the country, right? How much money should be given out in the economy in terms of credit is what is ensured through CRR and SLR, right? Credit position of the country is ensured by RBI through CRR and SLR. All right. With that, we come to the end of today's session, right? I hope the questions gave you a fair view of what I have been talking about in the last few sessions, that the concept has to be right. Now, what will happen is all the chapters will get merged, right? When the questions are framed, it is not just from one chapter. For example, I just asked a question about business environment while giving example of Competition Commission of India, right? Now, all the chapters are going to be merged, and that is how the questions are going to be framed, right? That is where you have to work on your knowledge base. That is where you have to work on your concepts, right? I hope this revision gives you a clear picture of what is to be done, what is to be revised, how is it to be revised, right? Any more thoughts or questions? I will be happy to take up in the next 1 minute, and then we will meet you tomorrow with chapter number 6 and more questions, more revisions. Right? Great. Thanks, Pushpa. I think that really helps all of us to understand where we are and what is to be done. Right? Yes, Veni, it is not written stay hydrated because I think by now you remember you have to stay hydrated, right? Good that you remember. Good, good, good. If you're scoring good out of this 10, congratulations. If you're not scoring good, you know where you stand. You know better where you stand, right? Any questions, any doubts, or we will close this for today and meet you tomorrow, same time. Yes, I will take up MCQ doubts which are there in the study material. Probably, if not tomorrow, on next Wednesday, right? If I'll try to complete the syllabus first, and then we'll take up all the doubts so that we have a holistic view of the entire subject, right? That is what I'm aiming for. But even if we have some time tomorrow, we'll take up those MCQs as well. Great, great. Yes, for PPT, I'll just check with the team if that is not being able, you are not able to download. We'll check that. You should be able to download or open that. Could be some technical issue, right? All right, then everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for being responsive. It's great to talk to all of you, right? I'll see you tomorrow with chapter 6 and some more revision questions. So stay home, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow then.